we have participants.
Are we cooking in shirts then?
Maybe. I don't think you'll need to, but. Can everybody hear us?
Hi, good evening.
Ah, there's sound.
Hello.
Hello, I can hear you.
All right. Give me just a moment here to finish getting something ready. Okay. See if the technology is going to work or if I'm going to have to finagle something.
Looks like you are switching to a computer. We can
All right,
see your
everybody see the
presentation.
slideshow.
Yep.
Will you be sending these slides out to us? Is that part of the plan?
We can, if you'd like. Uh-oh.
Yes, please.
Yeah, because I'm not in a spot where I can see everything at this point, so that would be helpful.
Can I grab a battery?
Yeah, I think the battery might be dead.
Or a battery?
I got it. Stand by. Aha!
Yay!
The small successes.
I know, right? Oh. So, sorry, we're running a couple of minutes behind. Do we want to go ahead and get going, or you guys want to wait a couple minutes and see if anybody else shows up?
You can get going if you'd like. I've got a couple questions that will probably get answered, or I hope will get answered, but I can entertain people by having you talk to them if you want to wait another minute or two.
Oh, we can do all kinds of fun stuff. We're camp staff. We'll sing songs if you want. Hey.
Well, I guess with the blanket silence there. I sent these questions to Andrew in email earlier this week, but I figure I might as well see if I can get answers. Probably the most pertinent question I've got right now is I've got a scout who's interested in the BSA lifeguard program, which I can't sign up for online. Who and or how do I need to see if make the request for him to be able to take that training?
Schedule, didn't we? It was on request this year, I think.
It was.
That's what the program guide says. Is that it's by request.
Yes. So you need to contact Kelby, who will give you his contact information in just a moment.
Okay.
So we used to schedule that one as a class, and we didn't this year because we found that some weeks we didn't have anybody sign up, and then we'd have 1 week where we'd have 2 people, and then we'd have, one person a week for a couple of weeks, and so inconsistent because it does take
Right.
a whole week when you do it. So we just didn't schedule it this week to devote an entire instructor to it, or this year, I mean.
Yep.
So.
Nope, completely understandable. The other, and this is a much more logistical question, but I think in the adult guide, you guys were looking to get information for special food requests by the end of this month. I am entering that information into my troops registration online. Is that your preferred method, or do you want an email or something that also gives you that information separately?
That is the preferred method. So at the end of this, month, I'm going to be running that report, and actually, I'm making him run the report and give it to him, so that he can start to look at any changes we may need to make to our special menu, which is kind of a hidden one that nobody really sees unless you have some of those needs. So.
Okay.
All right. Well, it's about 5 after. Let's go ahead and kick things off here. Welcome to the 2019 Pre-Camp Leaders Meeting. I'm Andrew.
No, I'm Grant.
So we will walk you through a whole bunch of different things this evening. We'll walk you through some of the different stuff we got going on at camp this year, some of the resources that we have before camp, introduce you to some of the camp leadership, and hopefully answer as many questions as we can. If not, we do have a time at the end for any extra questions you might have. So without any further ado, we'll just kind of dive right in. So my name is Andrew. I am the Easton director. I'm also the council program director. I oversee all 3 of our summer camps. And because of that, we have made a change this year and added a new position, which is our deputy camp director, which is now Grant.
Me.
So what's your job?
My job is to be the camp director when he's not around. So I'll be answering all the general questions and different things that you need answered. So policies, procedures, that sort of stuff go through me now.
Okay. And then Kelly McCandless is our program director at Camp Easton this year. So anything that has directly to do with the classes or the program and activities, you're going to get in touch with Kelby. So for instance, that one where you want to get someone signed up for the VSA lifeguard, Kelby, which is his contact information is along the top right there. The 2 that are in the middle is Megan West and Bill Good. Megan is the council program assistant who helps oversee this process for all 3 camps. And Bill is the Camp Easton business manager. So on June 23rd, Bill is going to take over the role of registrations and payments from Megan. So if you need anything to do with registration or payments before June 23rd, you're going to contact Megan. Once June 23rd hits and camp is in session and Bill's actually being employed for this, then Bill will take over that process and you'll contact him. Any questions on contact information?
Who, again, sorry, I sent these in email, but who would I contact to arrange for an early arrival? We're coming in for session 6, which is a Monday start, but we've got a long enough drive. We'd like to stay over the Sunday to Monday night.
That would be Megan. Or for right now, yeah, it would be Megan. So you'd call her,
Megan?
add it to your admin notes.
Okay. Again, it's in the online notes, but I'd rather there be too many notes than too few.
No, go for it. And I apologize. I'm like way behind in my emails at the moment. We just got done with Woodbound in our council, and I was one of the staff, and so I've got about 900 emails in my inbox.
I was going to say you've got one email address and 18 bajillion people hitting you. I'm not surprised.
Okay, so our camp website, we just updated a couple of things. There's a couple of more things we need to add. One of those things is not on the website yet, and I'll tell you which one it is. The Timberline Adventures we just got, which is the zip line course, should be on the website for you guys to be able to download. So you guys are more than welcome. If you have any questions about any of that type of stuff, BSA medical form, scuba medical form, anybody who's taking the scuba merit badge, including adults, must use the scuba medical form. You just take that with you when you get your physical and have it filled out. It's essentially just an additional way that makes sure that your heart and lungs are in the right shape they need to be able to be under compressed water while breathing from an oxygen tank. And then the menu will, I think the updated one is up there. If not, we'll update it when we update the Timberline Adventures waiver in the next day or so. Go Grant.
All right. So we have a Facebook page, facebook.com/Camp Easton. So that's important for all of you to go and join so that we can send out information throughout the summer. Now, it's our quickest way to get out information, such as if we have fire bans or different things like that. Smoke. And then we'll be checking that quite frequently. And if you have questions, you can also ask them there, and we'll be able to answer them on our Facebook page.
We also post lots of fun pictures and videos. I think that one's Grant getting hit in the face with a pie.
It is.
Was that 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't remember if it was last year. Anyway, sorry.
Oh, okay. So, check-in. I can't even see the schedule. At 1, we'll start our check-in, and it's based on a first-come, first-serve process. And so people who are staying the night will be obviously the first ones in. But when you show up in the parking lot, we'll have staff greet you, take you to your campsite, and they'll tell you when you're going to go down and do all the paperwork stuff and the swim check. And at that time, you'll go to the med shack with your scout leader and have all of your medical forms so we can go through and make sure those are all in good order. And then after that, we'll send you down to the waterfront. There's sometimes a delay, and so we'll go do the parade grounds, and our staff will play games with you guys. And then after the swim check, you guys can go back to your campsite and finish setting everything up. And our troop guides will also be with you guys and taking you around and doing a little tour so you can know where things are.
It's important to note that during the check-in process, anybody who signed up for the scuba merit badge will jump the line. So normally we do first come, first serve. So whoever's the first unit to arrive in camp is the unit that goes through check-in first, even if that person arrives on Saturday or something like that. But once the check-in process begins on Sunday, if we have anybody who is registered for the scuba program, they immediately go through the swim check and get into the scuba class because there's so much information to cover in that program that Jake.
And so that specific individual would jump the line, not the group they're with.
That is correct. Just the individual, not the entire troop.
I have a question as well.
Yes, go ahead.
Would it be helpful to do a swim check in advance of the camp week and then bring that paperwork to turn in? Or will there be a swim check regardless on the day of arrival?
There will be a swim check regardless, and the reason for that is because Lake Coeur d'Alene is a glacially fed lake. It comes with mountain runoff and, or not glacial, it's a spring-fed lake that comes off of mountain runoff and a lot of other stuff like that. The average water temperature of the lake is about 60 degrees. And for that reason, we want people to do the swim test in our lake because it's a shock to a lot of people that are used to swimming in a swimming pool or warmer waters and stuff like that. And even like I'm a strong swimmer. I've grown up swimming, and the first couple of times I jump in that water every year, I just about seize up. So it's quite a shock to your system until you get used to it. So we want to make sure that people can do the swim test in our water.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions about check-in? Cool. Directions. So Camp Easton only serves about 20 to 30% in council. Most of you guys will be coming to us from out of council, so you need to know how to get to camp. So in order to get to camp, the fastest way to get there is to come in on Interstate 90. Whether you're coming from east to west, you're going to take exit number 22, which is labeled as the Wolf Point exit. Excuse me. You're then going to turn south on Highway 97 from exit 22, go 11 miles, and you will literally drive through the center of camp. If you miss it, then something's wrong because there's a giant sign It's about 5 times the size of this one behind my head that looks just like that. And you literally drive through the center of camp. So it's 11 miles there, and then speaking of giant sign. Sorry, it's on a timer, and I got to keep pushing the button. So yeah, 11 miles south, and you'll get right there. There's not a whole lot of cell service in between those 2 locations. There is a fair amount of cell service at camp for those who have Verizon Wireless, T-Mobile, and Sprint. AT&T does not have the best coverage in camp. Sprint only has coverage at the waterfront and the rifle range. The middle areas don't get the best coverage. But Verizon has pretty good coverage throughout all camp, as does T-Mobile. So, but what I mean by that is you won't have the best like phone service to try and get directions once you leave I-90. As you pass through Beauty Bay and Echo Bay and some of the other bays and stuff on the way to Camp Easton, there's like no cell service whatsoever on that windy road. So it's 11 miles, and you'll literally run through the center of camp. Anybody who wants to send mail to camp, there's our mailing address. We ask if you're going to send mail to any of the participants, like if mom or dad from home or somebody else from the troop wants to send a care package, please send it so that it arrives before camp. So like if you guys are arriving on, say, the June 30th week, then send the mail so that it arrives on like June 29th and label it as for Troop 13, please deliver on July 4th or something like that. Because we're in a rural area, the postal service isn't as consistent as it is in other areas. Like in town, I can say I'm going to send a letter in the mail. I know it's going to arrive in 2 days. That doesn't necessarily work for us. It can be 2 days, it can be 4 days, it can be 6 days, or any combination in between. So go ahead and send it so it arrives a few days early. Label it as what troop you or person you want to receive it and what day you would like us to deliver it on the package. Any questions about that? Cool buttons. New things.
New things. So we have a tunnel going in right now. Yay! Which means we don't have to have scouts and even us going across the road. We can all use the tunnel. So it's a big safety feature that we've added, so that we don't have to worry about cars hitting scouts anymore. Yeah.
What else? What happens if someone doesn't use the tunnel?
Oh, yeah. Okay. If you don't use the tunnel or anyone doesn't use the tunnel and you're walking on the road, we will send you home and send you out of camp. Because it is a serious, it is a serious safety issue. And now we have a solution, so we don't want anybody on the road. Yeah.
This is so. If any of you have attended Camp Easton before, you know why this is a concern. This has been a 14-year project in the making, and it's a $500,000 piece of construction that we've done to eliminate a risk that we've had for many years, and we're pretty serious about it. So we want to make sure that, you know, the kids are using the tunnel, and make sure as leaders you are informing them all of that, letting them know, you know, if we catch people crossing the highway on foot, we're not going to be happy about it, because one, it's not safe, and now we actually have a solution to make sure that there is another option that is safer. So, any questions about that? These pictures are as of yesterday, by the way, so it's it'll be done by the time you guys arrive. It's still in some construction phases, but these pictures were just taken yesterday, so you can see where they're at right now. Questions? Cool.
I can just, I can tell that it's going to be really important for you to send the slides, because I can't attend the online part where you're showing the slides. And so a lot of this information is definitely something I would love to have in slide form. So I'm looking forward to you sending that out. Thanks.
Good to know. We will make sure that we get that sent out. Okay, so one other thing that we need to let you guys know this year is our archery range is, for this year, been temporarily relocated. So as you see on the Easton map right here, the current archery range location is right here, just south of the Southcraft, a little up the hill, just a little south of Scoutcraft, a little up the hill, right in between Scoutcraft and the ranges. The reason we're temporarily relocating it this year is we're actually rebuilding it. We were hoping to have it done before camp, but the construction company that's doing the work is not going to be able, because of the weather and stuff this spring, they weren't able to get started right away. So they're going to be finishing it up during camp. So while camp is running for the first couple of weeks, it's actually going to be down here along the, I actually just barely cut it off on the map. So just past the rifle and shotgun ranges, it's going to be just partway down this trail right here, right about where the map cuts off, as this road starts to bend. And so we've already set up a temporary range in that location. About halfway through the year, we're thinking sometime around the second week of July, we'll be able to open up the original location again, based on what the construction is telling us. But what they're doing is they're putting in a concrete pad. They're putting in a permanent pavilion to give covered shade to the shooters and shelter from the weather and stuff like that. An open teaching area. They've leveled out the range. So it's a nice thing. It's being done for us by the Johnston Fix Foundation and the Idaho Department of Fish and Game is who's paying for it. So it's about a $10,000 project that they're paying for. It's going to be a great thing when it's done. Unfortunately, it's just not going to be done until partway through camp. So temporarily, the archery range will be in a different location than what is shown on our map right now. It's at about an additional 5-minute walk down the trail from where it is at the moment. Any questions about that? Cool. Other camp stuff. There you go.
So we have service projects that we have lined up that you as leaders or scouts can do. And we have all the tools and everything that you need. So if you get bored or you decide your scouts are bored, come talk to one of us and we can find something for you guys to do.
We will post that list of what those service projects are on the Facebook page. We have a council work weekend this weekend, and so we'll have a better idea which ones will be done during summer camp after this weekend is over. And then we'll get it posted on our Facebook page so you guys can know what kind of service project we're talking about. What else? Notes. Where's the notes? I think the notes are like behind the slide. Hang on a sec. We wrote down notes.
And then we hid them.
While you're tracking those down, more questions for you.
Silver paddle adult classes.
As I'm signing up my scouts online for their classes, were the various class fees are being reflected in the monies due, which I don't have a problem with, but we're already paid completely for the general fees. Is it okay for the scouts to bring those class fees to camp and pay them individually, or do you want all those incurred fees to be paid before camp?
Yes, so with the class fees, we actually prefer if you wait until camp and then pay to get them, because a lot of times the first day the scouts will be changing their mind and changing classes.
Changing what they do. That makes a lot of sense. I guess that actually feeds into my second question, which is how much class swappage does occur? I'm seeing a couple classes already being full online, and I don't know whether to tell the scouts to just pick different things or whether they are likely to see spots open up when they show up at camp.
I would say most of our class swapping centers around the swim test and aquatics.
Okay.
Every once in a while, we do have somebody that just decides, I signed up for this merit badge, but I'm really not that interested in it, and so they'll switch. But I would say probably 80-90% of the class switching that we see has to do with aquatics. And once like kids get in the water and they're all excited to go spend the front, and then they jump in our lake and go, oh my gosh, that's 62 degrees. I do not want to spend half of all of my days in the lake. And change classes. That's what most of it's related to. So you'll see a lot of aquatic classes open up. You won't see a lot of the other classes around camp open up.
Okay. The one I had my eye on was shotgun shooting, which but that's obviously not an aquatic sport. So I'll provide feedback to my scouts to pick classes that they're satisfied with, and if they have an opportunity to switch out, great. But they should pick classes they plan on.
Cool. All right. So the other camp opportunities, once we checked our notes, there's a Silver Paddle Award, which is for you as adults. Different things you can do throughout camp to help us out. Some of those are doing service projects or going to the areas and helping our staff, whether manage a class or help teach, sort of thing. And you get a cool patch that's in the shape of a canoe that you can put on.
If you have been to Camp Easton and have earned that award before and come back and earn it again, on subsequent earnings, instead of getting another one of the canoe patches, you actually get little silver paddle pins to add onto your canoe. So we have some people who come back who have like 8 little paddles on their canoe.
And for the youth, we have Gold Paddle Award, which is going around and doing various activities throughout camp as patrols. So going to our different camp-wide activities or doing stuff when they're troop or doing service as well. And they get a ribbon that you can put on your flag. So, yeah. And then the other thing for also you as adults, we have a few adult classes. And so one of them is the Introduction to Outdoor Leadership Skills, where whoever signs up gets put into an adult patrol, and then you go around to the different areas of camp and learn basic scouting skills. So you'll go to like Scoutcraft and learn knots and go.
Fire at Scoutcraft, you're like, no, it's the Eagle Quest.
Oh, yeah, sorry. You go to Scoutcraft and start a fire without matches, and you go to Eagle Quest to do knots and various other things. You make a patrol, flag and yell, and all sorts of fun stuff. And that's a good class to learn. It's a training that you can get to help your scouts out as well. And then we have our Great Adult Leader course, where we do all the fun activities.
Because the other stuff's not fun.
Starting fire is not fun. All right, fine. We do other fun activities where you get cool patches. And they have
the s'more cooking badge.
S'more cooking and coffee drinking. We have a patch for that one.
And nap safety training.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually one of our most popular courses every year. We were discussing this the other day. This started a couple of years ago as like a joke course. And honestly, the guy that teaches it is the one that does the coffee is like hilarious and everybody loves him, and the adults have so much fun doing it, and so it's become one of our most popular courses. It's called the Great Adult Leader Training Course, and everybody loves it. So absolutely check it out if you've got nothing else to do in camp.
So one thing that I have done at other camps, but wasn't sure based on the fact that the lifeguard certification was by request, is if there aren't any scouts doing the lifeguard certification, would you be willing to have an adult do the lifeguard certification?
It depends on our staff and if they can take the time to teach. If we don't have enough staff to cover the merit badge classes, we might not be able to. But as it is right now, we do have a lot of staff, so.
More than likely, yes.
Yeah. So talk to Kelby, and he'll be able to figure that out. And his contact information's on the slide that we're going to send to everyone.
Clicker.
Oh,
clicker.
Great, thanks.
I have one question
Great.
about that Great Adult Training course. When I
Yes.
looked at the schedule for that, it looked like it was scheduled the same time as the adult leader meeting in the mornings. Is there going to be a schedule conflict, or is it being shifted to a different time?
That might be a boo-boo.
Yep, that might be on us.
It's not supposed to be scheduled during the adult leader meeting. We will double check that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, we will double check this.
Yep.
Silverwood.
Silverwood.
So Camp Easton is only about an hour and 15 minutes, give or take, from Silverwood Theme Park, which is one of the oldest theme parks in America and has the oldest wooden roller coaster, I think, in America, at least in the Western U.S. Awesome theme park. They have a deal with us. I say we've been working with them for a number of years now on a lot of stuff, and so they allow us through Camp Easton to sell tickets for substantially less than the gate price. Gate price tickets at Silverwood Theme Park are $56 a person. They allow us to sell them they give them to us on a consignment deal and allow us to sell them for just $37 a person. So it's a screaming deal for everybody. So we have troops that come on Saturday or stay an extra day after they go through camp. So they'll either come early and spend a day up there, or they'll stay late and spend a day there, and we get them the tickets either when they're at camp, or if you're going early and go to Silverwood before you arrive at camp, we can send you a PDF of the tickets and you just print them. It's a great deal. It's a lot of fun. I say the staff go once every year. We usually go, it's usually a 4th of July week, isn't it? No, it's the third week 3, I think we're going to go. I don't remember.
We go at some point.
We go at some point with the staff too, and it's always fun for us to go and see all the Easton people. Matter of fact, last year we thought it was hilarious that while we were on the lazy river in the water park, we found one of these hats. One of the lifeguards at the water park found one of these hats, and I was like, hey, I'll bet I know who that belongs to, and I grabbed it, and sure enough, ran into one of the troops by the end of the day and was able to get the hat back to the kid because they're kind of distinct and they stick out from like a mile away. So it's a lot of fun. If you guys want to take the opportunity to do it, I fully encourage you to do it. And you can buy tickets for more than just your troop. You can buy tickets for additional adults that want to go, siblings, anything like that. That's not limited to just Boy Scouts because it's not a Boy Scout program. It's just a consignment deal that they sell the tickets through us. So you can take anybody in your entire troop with you to go and do that. It's a lot of fun.
Micah Bay. So during the week, we'll have opportunities to send your scouts, and you guys as well, cross the lake to Micah Bay, as it says at Camp Swaylocken, which is a campfire camp. And we'll send you in war canoes, big old canoes that hold about 20 people. And you'll paddle across and spend the night, have fancy tinfoil dinners, and in the morning you'll come back and arrive back at our camp before breakfast. And yeah, other than that, it's up to you guys what you do. Hang out as a troop, enjoy the night.
And you get a cool patch.
Are we doing North Schools this week?
Does the whole troop have to go, or can only ones that are interested participate?
No, the whole troop does not have to go. However, we do need to maintain 2 deep leadership. So you either need to send enough adults to do that or arrange with another troop to have the adult coverage and whatnot so you guys can kind of work together to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes, I see on the slide it says something about a ropes course over there.
I have to verify that with them. Last year we did that with them, and there were a couple of weeks we weren't able to do it because they had some issues with getting it set up and having a certified person to run it. I forgot to take it off the slide because I wasn't sure if we're going to be able to do it again or not this year yet. You reached out to Chris yet? Okay, we'll verify that. By the time you arrive in camp, we'll definitely know. Unfortunately, that became kind of a week-by-week thing last year because we are working with another organization outside of scouting as we do that one.
Does the Micah Bay opportunity need to be scheduled before we come to camp, or when we arrive in camp, or sometime during that week?
Just when you arrive during the week. We'll remember to announce it during camp. And we have sign-ups at the trading posts because it is also $2 a person, mostly so that we can keep the boats in repair. Good repair, yeah.
Yeah, those big 24, they're 32-foot war canoes. They say they hold 25 people, but once you add the gear, they really only hold about 20. And they're made of solid fiberglass, weigh about 600 pounds a piece, and cost $18,000 to replace, as I learned last year. So, but they're a lot of fun, and not a lot of people have them anymore because they are kind of hard to get a hold of and hard to maintain. Any other questions? Trading Post. So Trading Post or online short orders, pick.
Trading Post. So we have lots of cool gear, like Camp Easton gear that has our cool logo on it. And then, of course, we'll have stuff for merit badges, leatherwork basketry. That's also where you'll buy tickets for the ranges to show that you bought the ammo or the different shooting programs that we do. Yeah. And then, of course, we have candy, snacks, soda pop, and knives. They do have to have a tote and chip to buy knives at the Trading Post. But we also teach that class on Monday, so win-win.
Online shirt orders. The online shirt orders, the date was extended until this last Monday. We're actually going to extend it again. So if you have not done your online shirt order for the customized t-shirts with the troop number on it, this year they're orange. You can do that through this weekend. We're submitting the order to the company on Monday for all the shirts. So if anybody wants to add those to their order, you can still do that. And it's our normal Easton participant shirt that has the logo on the front, bright orange, and it'll have your troop number on the sleeve. And we'll have those ready for you when you arrive in camp. We do offer the same shirt in the Trading Post. It's $1 less because it doesn't have the troop number on the sleeve. So if you decide you do want one later, you can still buy the same shirt in the Trading Post, but it just doesn't have your customized troop number on it. And yeah, after this weekend, that order will go into the manufacturing or the production company. So
In the Trading Post, are there other colors besides orange?
So there's our standard green color, which we maintain. There's a few leftover blue ones from last year because we change colors every year. There's a few leftover blue ones from last year that we just sell until they're gone. We actually discount them, the one from previous years down. And then there's a number of other shirts you can actually see in that picture. We call them our funny saying shirts that are various different colors but still have our logo on them, and some of them have cute scout sayings. One of our most popular, actually our single most popular one, is the Go Ask Your SPL one. I think like at least 2/3 of the adults that come to camp end up buying that. Because it just says in big, huge letters on the back, go ask your SPL. And everybody thinks that's funny, and we actually encourage it because we want the youth to be the ones leading the program in camp. There are 2 new shirts that are being added to the lineup this year, and I wish, now that I think about it, that I would have added pictures of them to the slide. One is our new mom shirt, which is Scout Mom, just like a regular mom, only cooler. And it has a cool little logo thing on it with s'mores, it's a arrow and yeah. And stuff like that. And the other one is Scouting is s'more fun with friends, and those are in pink and purple and they're in a women's cut, both of them. So those are new ones this year, as well as our eagle loading, Scouting is a survival skill, Go Ask Your SPL, and some other ones that we've had for a long time. So yes, lots of shirts. Any other questions?
So it says to ask about the wooden nickel program.
Somebody asked about the wooden nickels. This was a joke last year because I actually put that on the slide and I made it all the way through the end of the presentation and nobody asked. And I was like, really? Nobody asked? Okay. Tell them about the wooden nickels.
Cool. So we'll have wooden nickels that you can buy at the Trading Post for $1, and they're worth $1. And you can give them to a scout or staff for each other when you see them doing something good, something following the scout law. And they can take it back to the Trading Post and spend it for $1 getting a candy or saving them up and buying other things. But it's a wooden coin that's worth $1 in our Trading Post.
It's a really fun little program we started doing a few years ago and became very popular. One thing we didn't anticipate with it, we initially thought of it as you can give them to scouts as you see them doing a good turn type of thing and reward them in that manner. But actually, a lot of people started giving them to our staff. And so the staff really like it too. And then the staff end up giving them to kids, and adults give them to kids. They just get passed around camp a lot, and they're worth money in the trading post. So it's a great program. Other things to remember. Wild animals in camp. So very, 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 very rarely we will have a bear in camp. Like really rarely. Like in 4 years, we've had one that I've been there. Bears are not typically our problem in camps. And so for that reason, we've never been super huge on the whole food in campsites rule. You can have food in campsites as long as it's in a hard container. The reason for that is the wildlife you're most likely to run into is an invasive species called the Columbian ground squirrel. This species was introduced in the Coeur d'Alene area about 60 years ago, and it has taken over the Coeur d'Alene area, and they will chew through absolutely anything to get at food. If it's in a soft container of any type, a backpack, a sleeping bag, a tent, they have chewed through it to get at it. And we have had people come down and show us a backpack with a hole this big around chewed through the side of it because the squirrel decided he wanted the beef jerky that was in there or something like that. So make sure that you have appropriate containers if you're going to have food in the campsites and stuff like that. Like I said, we have never really had bear problems. The only bears we have in the area are black bears, and they're too skittish around noises to even come anywhere near a camp full of kids, so we've never really had problems. But the squirrels will get into any food that you have in the campsite, I promise. The only other animals you're likely to see in camp are moose. We do have a moose that lives on the backside of the property. He was born there about 3 years ago. And so he's seen on occasion, and we advise everyone to avoid him when they see him because he's a very large moose, and moose are actually, believe it or not, a lot more dangerous than bears are. So remind your kids what to do when they see a moose. If they see one, they are supposed to very calmly back away. Don't throw anything at it. Don't stop to take a picture. Don't yell at it. Don't try and scare it off because it's a lot bigger than you and it's very territorial. And so if you take it off, it will probably charge you. So just tell them to back away very slowly. Once it's out of sight, get back to where they can tell a staff and let us know immediately where it is. And we will go find it and make sure that we keep track of where it's at. We do have animal and bear repellent to encourage it to depart if necessary. So. Other things.
Do we put notes on this one too?
I think we did put notes on this one. Special needs we already talked about. Camp fees, what not to bring. Special. We already talked about special needs. So the question came up earlier about special needs. For anybody who wasn't paying attention then, there is special needs sections on the camp reservation. So please make sure that you fill those out for medical, allergy, and any other special or dietary needs that you have so that we know what they are. Try and give us at least a couple of weeks of warning on that. The reason I say that is not because we're lazy or anything like that. It's like any custom foods or special order foods that we need to order from our supplier need to be ordered a minimum of 2 weeks out. So they're not normally like gluten-free bread and stuff like that is not like a stock item that they carry. We need at least a couple of weeks of warning in order to order that. We are more than happy to order those type of things and help cover you in any of those type of needs you have. We just need to know about them. What was the other one I just said?
Things not to bring.
Things not to bring.
I don't know the list.
Ruger, come here. How many of you have been to Camp Easton before? If you have, you've probably met this guy. So this is Ruger. Unless it's a service animal, we don't allow dogs in camp. Ruger lives on the property with us, and so you'll see him running around, but he's a trained dog, specifically trained to be around large groups of people and all that, and children and those kind of things. He doesn't, so he'll never bite. I mean, you can literally like grab his tail and yank on it, and he won't bite. He's been trained to do that. Most people's dogs are not, so don't bring any pets unless it is a trained service animal. If you're going to do that, please let us know, and you need to keep it on a leash at all times. Other things that you should not bring is any form of gas-operated equipment, such as chainsaws, ATVs, motorcycles, anything like that. Those are all, riding lawnmowers, and yes, we've had someone try and bring a riding lawnmower. All that type of stuff should stay at home. If for any reason you would ever need anything like that, you have all that type of equipment in camp. Did someone have a question?
Yeah, I was gonna ask about propane stoves. You meant gas just for petroleum, like
Yes, like gasoline gas.
gasoline.
Plug the computer in. Talk about. All right, plug in the computer real quick. Just a second.
Battery slow.
Okay, sorry, keep going. The other things that you should not bring is please don't bring, you can carry sheath knives in camp, and so we do allow that. Don't bring like machetes. We always have some kid that wants to push the rule, so we say don't bring any overly large sheath knives. Like regular sheath knives are fine. Matter of fact, we actually sell them in the trading post, but don't every once in a while we do have someone that tries to bring like a sword, and just don't. So other than that, I don't think there's really anything else that you shouldn't bring.
Alcohol, fireworks.
Oh yeah, the typical things: guns, alcohol, fireworks. See, I told you should do this one.
Yeah, maybe I should have.
The typical things: guns, alcohol, fireworks, any of those kind of things that wouldn't be allowed at a scout event. So I think that's our last slide, isn't it? Oh. Camp Easton is a nationally accredited BSA camp, so we do go through the National Camp Accreditation Program every year. If you are at camp during our first week of camp, you will meet the accreditation team, because that's when they do their accreditation. But otherwise, all that means for the rest of you is that we go through all of the stuff that we need to make sure that we are meeting all the BSA requirements to be an official BSA camp. So, and I know that is the last slide, because the next one says questions.
Yay!
Yeah, question about the campsites themselves. Do we need to bring tents as a troop, or is everything provided for everybody?
No. So the tents are provided. We have canvas tents that we put over a platform. I want to say it's
7 by 9.
7 by 9. 7 feet by 9 feet. So depending on how big the scouts are, you can usually put in about 3. At least 2 can go in a tent, but usually 3 you can fit in. Other than that, we have, depending on the campsite, they have different things. Some will have little structures that you can throw tarps over. Some won't. It just depends on campsite and what people have put in there.
2 of them do have permanent structures in them. They're like a eating pavilion type of thing.
Yeah.
We're slowly building those in the rest of them, but unfortunately only 2 of them have them right now. Every campsite has running water and a fire pit and a picnic table and all those general necessities. There are a couple of campsites that do have electricity. If anyone has need of a CPAP machine, please put that in your notes and let us know when you do put that in your notes if you have a battery for it, because that lets us know we will supersede all other campsite requests in need of a medical campsite request. For some reason, we have someone who is handicapped who needs to be closer to the bathrooms for physical need reasons, we'll do that. If we have someone who needs electricity for a CPAP machine, we'll do that. So those medical need requests supersede all other campsite requests when we.
Do we know when we'll be assigned the campsite?
You can put in your requests if you have any requests now. We do our best to honor those, as I said, unless we have medical needs that supersede them. And we make those assignments starting about the 2nd week of June, I want to say. And so about a week and a half before you arrive in camp, you'll get a phone call confirming all your information, confirming the numbers are correct. all that kind of stuff, and they'll let you know at that time what campsite you'll be in, verify whether or not you're arriving early or at the regular arrival date, those kind of things. And that will be either Bill or Bill's assistant, Mandy, that will be contacting you.
Regarding the med forms, we have some youth that have had their physicals done in July of last year, and we're coming up in July. And some of the insurance carriers don't want to do a physical until it's been a full year. And we're coming from Cascade Pacific Council. In this council, if we have the Part C completed, let's as an example say it was signed off July 15th of last year in the 18, it would be valid here in our council until July 31st of 19. Is that the same in your council?
Yes. Yeah, it goes till the end of the month for whenever you got your physical.
Okay, so that's good to know. Thank you.
Yeah.
Other questions?
Quick question on, is there a meal that troops cook themselves during one of the days? Or are all meals taken at the cafeteria?
So the Wednesday night meal, dinner,
Yep.
we'll have the dinners taken to your campsite and you'll cook them.
Okay.
The hot dogs. So whether you want to put that on a grill and cook them or just cook them over the fire, that's up to you.
Okay.
It's the Wednesday nights.
How likely is a fire ban likely to be? And if there is a fire ban, are charcoal cooking tools still generally allowed?
So the fire bans, if they do kick in Lake Coeur d'Alene, they typically kick in sometime around the 3rd week of July to the 4th week of July. So they only ever affect the last couple of weeks of camp. We stay in pretty constant contact with the National Forest Service as well as the Department of Idaho Fish and Game, who manages all of that. They do allow us to keep fires going in camp a little longer than most other places because of the fact that we have designated fire pits everywhere. We have water in all the campsites. We have fire cans in all the campsites. We take more precautions than just about anybody else, and so they do allow us to continue a little bit longer. Even if that is the case, cooking implements are always allowed even when a fire ban is going on. So stuff like a propane stove and stuff like that, any of them that have been manufactured in the last 20 years have safety features in them anyways, that if you knock them over, they'll turn themselves off and stuff like that. So they're always allowed.
Would charcoal be an acceptable medium under a fire ban?
I would have to talk to Fire Chief Dan in the area and verify that, but we will be able to let you know by the time that happens.
Okay.
I think so, but I don't want to promise something I can't deliver.
It usually is we're coming from Western Washington, and there are multiple levels of fire bans that we have. Usually charcoal is allowed here at most levels that we get to, but there are times when they cut out everything. So yeah, that's why I ask. So.
Do you have any Dutch oven cook-offs or anything?
Nope, but we have been talking about that. That is why we are both laughing right now.
They used to many years ago before either of us came along, and we just asked this last year, why don't we do this? And we found out there was some big something that happened, and a bunch of people got mad at each other or whatever, so they stopped doing it, and we just never picked it up again. So it came up again this year that, hey, we should do that again. But we haven't added it to the schedule. So it's on our list of things to very strongly consider. I like Dutch oven cooking.
I like eating Dutch oven cooking.
That's one route to go.
That's one route.
I like to cook it. You like to eat it. We're perfect there.
Yeah.
You know, if you were to put an entry on the Silver Paddle Award to share a Dutch oven cooked meal with the staff, you could.
There you go.
We'll take out the meat.
No, you have to do the meatloaf challenge. Grant is if you look at the Silver Paddle Award that's in the program guide, one of the things that's on there is the Meatloaf Challenge. And at least I think it's on this year's version. The Meatloaf Challenge was challenging the camp director to cleaning a meatloaf pan in the back of the kitchen. And so it was a race to see who could do it fastest. And in the 4 years that I've been doing this, I've been beaten 3 times.
Oh, there's that one week where everyone beat you.
I count that as 1.
Oh, okay.
There was 4 people in 1 week that beat me. So really I've been beaten 6 times, 7 times, something like that. Anyway, Grant is stepping in and taking, this is my last year as the Camp Easton director, so that's why Grant is in the deputy camp director position. So next year, Grant will be the Camp Easton director.
Yep.
And he's not sure he wants to take on the Meatloaf Challenge. I think he should go for it. So we might replace the Dutch oven, or the Meatloaf Challenge, with a Dutch oven cooking thing in the Silver Paddle Award, just for Grant's benefit. Any other questions? Let me check the.
Set up.
Hi, my name's
set up
David.
tents if they want to, or hammocks.
Was the question, can they set up hammocks in the campsites?
Yeah, hammocks and or their own tent if they wanted to bring a tent.
Yes. For hammocks, we've even set up hammock posts so people can put their hammocks on those instead of on the trees. And if they bring their own tents, that's up to them. They can do that as well.
There's plenty of open space in every campsite.
Yep.
I came late. My name is David Aston, Troop 212. Just wondering what the menu item for the camp in dinner in camp dinner is.
It is hot dogs, and I think Weasley was talking about doing chili.
I think so.
Yeah.
Chili and hot dogs. Okay, thank you. That just helps figure out what equipment we need to bring from Gig Harbor. So, thanks.
Yep. Let me check the text line and see if anybody texted any questions.
And so we should bring our own equipment to cook that night, correct?
Unless you intend on cooking over the fire, which is more than an option, yes. But if you are traveling from extreme distances, we do have some units coming from Alaska and a couple of other places. Cannot bring like a stove or something like that. We do have a limited amount that we can loan out, but it is a limited amount. So. Not what I wanted. Where is the?
Your invasive squirrels, do they typically go after juices that are in containers or cans that have soda or anything in them? Or is it just food?
Just food.
Yeah. It's in the chat.
Hey, I got a question for you guys. Do you normally do a Scoutmaster golf tournament?
No, we never have.
No Scoutmaster. Okay, so we don't need to bring Hawaiian shirts or anything like that.
There is a Scoutmaster belly flop, and people have brought Hawaiian shirts and other interesting things to that.
Cool.
There's a Highland Games theme, or there's someone talk of kilts?
Yes. So the Highland Games is our Scottish Viking games that we do. And so if you want, you can have all of your troop come in kilts and do all the activities. Sometimes it's just like
There it is.
what is it? Flannel kind of material that they make a kilt out of.
Sure.
Troops wrap themselves in towels and call it their kilts. You can be creative, but yeah, we encourage that. Some of our staff will wear their kilts that day too.
Okay.
Not required.
No, just encourage.
All right.
Makes it a lot more fun.
Yep.
And what day is the Highland Games?
That's Tuesday evening.
We are coming from Western Washington. I'm just wondering what, I'm sorry, might be addressing something again, but your check-in procedure, is that just come and get in the conga line and then march run through and after, or can you tell me a little bit about that, your check-in procedures?
Yeah, so we did go over it earlier, but we'll review it again.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. When you first arrive in camp, one of our staff will meet you in the parking lot. That'll be your troop guide, as well as the commissioner for your side of camp.
Okay.
They'll direct you to your campsite, and as soon as you arrive, we'll add you to our queue, if you want to call it that, of people who have arrived. So we take whoever's the first one to arrive, and that's who's go through first, and from then on. So then they take you up to your campsite and start getting you set up until it's your turn to go through everything, and then we pull you down and run you through medical checks and swim checks and go through the business office, make sure all that's taken care of, and give you a tour of camp, and then send you back to your campsite to finish unpacking or anything like that. If you're already done, you can come down to the parade grounds and play games, or go down to our lower parade grounds and do volleyball or horseshoes or those kind of things, and up until the evening festivities begin. So.
Okay. Will we manage our own meds in camp, or are you managing meds? I've been to 2 different styles of camps.
As long as you have lockable storage for your meds, you're allowed to manage your own.
Okay, and actually one of our dads is a pharmacist, so we'll be good.
Yep. So you just need something that it can be lockable, that it can be kept in so that unauthorized persons cannot get at it. So.
Yes, we will have that as well.
And a lockable container can be as simple as putting it in your car.
We have a couple of ammo cans, one for spending money and one for meds. So thank you. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I like ammo cans.
I like ammo cans. Last minute registration and changes. Is that something that's handled that first day? For merit badges?
You about a week and a half to 10 days before you arrive in camp and buy any of those type of things. But if you do have any last minute changes, you can always call up until June 23rd, as I've got the display of all our contacts up here. Up until June 23rd, you can contact Megan West. After June 23rd, you'll contact Bill Good. If Bill doesn't answer the phone, his assistant Mandy will.
Okay. All right. But once we get in camp, pretty much everything's locked in. Kids can't go, oh, I want to go walk over to that one and be in that merit badge. They're not able to do that.
For merit badges, no, they can make those changes when they arrive in camp.
Okay, great, thanks. That's what I'm sorry, I was not clear when I asked that.
Sorry, I was thinking like adding people registration.
No, sorry.
Can you repeat that part about the merit badges again, please?
So they can make changes to the merit badges up until, actually they can make changes in the merit badges up until about Tuesday. Once you pass that first day, there really isn't the ability to make up a lot of the stuff in the merit badge, so like even through Monday, if they go to the first day of a class and realize, this really isn't for me, we'll let them make changes. But once Tuesday hits, everything's pretty well locked in place.
Okay.
Thank you. Do you have let me rephrase that. Which day is OA day, or do you have one there?
Friday or Thursday? Oh yeah, Service Brothers.
Yeah. So it is Wednesdays, and so on Wednesday we encourage everybody to wear their sash or wear like Order of the Arrow shirts, and we have Easton OA flaps that Andrew was trying to show off. They're green, like most of our things.
Like green.
And do you have opportunity for Scouts to earn Brotherhood there?
So if they are part of Esquilagu Lodge, yes, they can, because our lodge chief happens to be on staff. If they're not part of Esquilagu Lodge, then they need to work through their own lodge leadership in order to do that. So.
Understood.
You need a signed note to get buy a knife at the trading post camp?
You either need to be over 18, have a totem chip, or have an adult leader from your unit that will vouch for you that you have a totem chip, you just don't have it with you.
Okay, so the adult must be present rather than a note being shown.
Please, that's preferred.
Okay.
But we do teach Don't and Chip class on Monday night, so there's really no excuse for not every kid in camp to not Don't and Chip if they want.
Exactly. Yeah.
And we do have some really nice knives. We actually have some new ones this year. They're kind of awesome.
Do you have a rainbow dragon knife?
We do not have a rainbow dragon knife.
Oh.
We should. We don't have any.
Maybe buckle.
We should get a rainbow one. We used to have a rainbow one. They sold them all.
Hey, I got a question about the Silverwood tickets. Do we need to get those in advance, or do we just pick them up when we're in camp?
You can pick them up when you're in camp. The more advance is appreciated, but the way that they do the consignment system through us, we actually you can let me know 5 minutes before I get them because they're all done online. So.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
I prefer a little more notice than that, but.
But we can, if we tell you we want them, we can pay when we get to camp.
Yes, yes.
Perfect.
Any other last minute questions? We're right at an hour, so.
No.
Not that we have anywhere to go, but we've been promised to keep it to an hour, so.
We're bringing like an 18-foot troop trailer. Will there be enough room for parking?
In the parking lots, yes. 18-foot might be a little bit. Each of the campsites has a spot in front of it where a troop trailer can be parked.
Okay.
18 feet might be a little long for most of those spots. I think we usually have 10 to 12-foot trailer type things. We have to ask our ranger. But anything else, there's more than enough room in the parking lot. And you can, when you do arrive and you're unloading, we do allow one vehicle at a time to go down the road to unload near the campsite for stuff like that. And then if you want to leave your trailer at the site, you can, because each one of them has a spot in front of it. But so you'll at least be able to get it to the site to unload it, even if you can't park it there.
Sure. Gotcha.
But if the trailer does fit, we can leave the trailer at the site through the week.
Yes, you can. Any other questions? Cool. Hearing none, I think we'll dismiss.
Thanks, fellas.
Thank you very much. We look forward to seeing you all this summer.
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Have a good night.